Have you ever found yourself caught in that familiar scroll? Just bombarded by images of flawless bodies and like designer workout gear or these really alluring ads for luxury bath bombs and exclusive wellness
Right,
retreats.
yeah, all the
They
time.
all promise the same thing, don't they? It's like unlock your best self if you just buy this product or, sign up for that service.
Mm.
Or maybe you felt that sort of subtle pressure to treat yourself to something new, maybe something expensive. And it's all justified in the name of
Yeah.
self-care.
Right, that justification is key.
It seems to be woven into like the very fabric of our daily lives, this message that our genuine well-being is somehow just a transaction away.
It really does.
Okay, let's unpack this. Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into the fascinating, um, often contradictory, and frankly, sometimes bewildering understanding of self-care and the truly colossal industry that has blossomed around this whole concept of wellness.
Yeah, colossal is the word.
Our mission isn't just to describe it, but to really interrogate whether these pervasive concepts genuinely serve our holistic well-being, or if they've maybe been cleverly, perhaps even insidiously, co-opted by powerful commercial interests, expertly transforming these deeply personal human needs into highly profitable products.
It's particularly insightful, I think, how deeply ingrained these ideas have become in our daily lives. It stretches far beyond just individual consumer choices, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
We see them manifesting everywhere, from like new workplace initiatives often mandated designed to boost employee productivity, to an entirely new, rapidly expanding sector of the global tourism industry.
Right.
This deep dive will really hopefully peel back the layers, moving well beyond the glossy surface level marketing to delve into the nuanced definitions and, frankly, the ethical dilemmas that underpin this whole global phenomenon.
Yeah.
We want to understand what's really happening behind the buzzwords.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? Well, our core mission is to provide you with a clear, informed, and truly critical perspective on what self-care and wellness actually are, how they've been shaped and maybe reshaped by consumerism, and most crucially, how you can maybe start to discern genuine, impactful practices that truly serve your well-being from what are essentially just commercial ploys designed to, well, extract your dollars.
Yeah, telling the difference.
Exactly. To arm you with this insight, we've pulled from a really diverse stack of sources, everything from incisive legal critiques and some really candid, often funny, online discussions, to rigorous academic research and the latest major industry analyses. We're here to try and give you a comprehensive, well-rounded picture that cuts through the noise a bit.
Sounds good. Where do we start?
The expanding universe of wellness and self-care.
Okay, let's begin at the very genesis of these ideas, tracing the concept of wellness way, way back to its ancient origins.
Right, before it was an industry.
Exactly. Our sources reveal that long before it became this multi-trillion-dollar thing, civilizations from ancient Greece and Rome to India and China, they universally embraced a core philosophy of preventative and holistic health.
That wasn't just about fixing problems when they arose.
No, they weren't merely reacting to illness after it struck. Their entire approach was about actively maintaining balance, fostering harmony between mind, body, and spirit, and preventing sickness before it even had a chance to take root.
Sort of living in alignment with nature, understanding your place.
Yeah, exactly. Now, fast forward considerably to the 19th century, and we see similar movements gaining traction in Europe and the US. These movements also champion natural approaches, emphasizing self-healing, hydrotherapy, a return to simpler lifestyles.
Okay.
These early holistic ideas, focusing on the whole person and their interconnectedness with their environment, they really laid a foundational groundwork for what we now understand or maybe misunderstand as modern wellness thought.
It's particularly insightful, though, that while the ideas are ancient, the actual word wellness, as we use it today, is surprisingly recent.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was only coined in 1959 by a medical doctor named Halbert L. Dunn. He saw wellness as this active, lifelong process of making choices toward a more successful existence, which, aligns pretty well with those ancient roots.
Okay.
However, even though it's now thoroughly ingrained in our vocabulary, our sources point out a significant caveat. The term has, at times, become quite problematic. It's been associated with pseudoscience, minority religious sects, and commercial exploitation.
Right. That's important context.
It really is. This historical nuance is profoundly important because it highlights why, as noted by researchers Erickson and others, the concept of wellness is frequently used, but its definition remains unclear.
So that ambiguity isn't new.
Not at all. And this isn't just like an academic debate. It's a fluidity that allows for tremendous expansion. And as we'll definitely get into, commercial appropriation. It's a term that's evolved almost like a chameleon, often reflecting the intentions of whoever's using it.
That lack of a singular, clear definition really does make it a bit of a moving target, doesn't it? Almost slippery. But some prominent organizations have stepped up to offer their own interpretations, trying to sort of anchor the concept.
Right, give it some structure.
Exactly. For instance, the National Wellness Institute, which is actually the longest-standing nonprofit professional wellness association in the U.S., they define wellness as an active process through which people become aware of and make choices toward a more successful existence. So it puts the focus on individual choice.
Okay, active process, choices.
Then you have the Global Wellness Institute, the GWI, describing it as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health.
Holistic health, right.
So while the specifics might vary a bit between definitions, there's this consistent thread, isn't there? Active participation, a broad, holistic view of health, and the idea of deliberate choices. It's about being proactive, not reactive.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, that Global Wellness Institute definition is particularly interesting because it explicitly implies wellness extends beyond physical health to incorporate many different dimensions that should work in harmony.
Okay, so not just about the body.
Exactly. The GWI identifies 6 core dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, and environmental wellness. The Berkeley Wellbeing Institute goes even broader, proposing 8 dimensions, adding intellectual, occupational, and financial wellness to the mix.
Wow, okay, financial wellness too.
Yeah, and what's crucial to understand here is that while wellness is an individual pursuit, fundamentally built on self-responsibility, meaning, we are responsible for our choices, it's also profoundly and significantly influenced by the physical, social, and cultural environments in which we live.
Right, so it's not just happening in a vacuum.
Precisely. It's never just about you in isolation. It's about your interactions with the world, your community, your workplace, even your financial stability. These broader influences often get overlooked when we focus only on, individual consumer choices.
Okay, now let's talk about the money. The sheer financial magnitude of this whole phenomenon. The self-care and wellness markets aren't just big. They've ballooned into something truly staggering.
The numbers are wild.
They really are. It's incredibly challenging to pin down one single number, and our diverse sources present figures that vary wildly, which really just underscores the breadth and maybe the ambiguity of what's even being counted here.
Right. What is wellness spending?
Exactly. For instance, legal scholar Suzanne Kim, focusing on specific aspects, identifies the self-care economy as an $11 billion industry. Okay, $11 billion.
Okay.
Then, a candid Reddit discussion about anti-consumption, citing a different source, claims it's a $450 billion market.
Wow. Quite a jump.
Right. And if you narrow it down further, looking just at the Mercola Center for Applied Ethics report, the fitness industry specifically is a $30 billion business.
So huge.
Still huge, but perhaps the most expansive and truly eye-opening view comes from McKinsey & Company. They describe a booming, frankly mind-boggling $1.8 trillion global wellness market in 2024.
$1.8 trillion.
Trillion. With consumers apparently intending to significantly increase spending across a vast array of categories: health, fitness, nutrition, appearance, sleep, mindfulness, you name it. It's not just a market, it's like a global economic titan.
This truly raises an important question, though. How can there be such a massive range of market valuations for what seems like the same basic concept?
Yeah, how do you reconcile $11 billion with $1.8 trillion?
Exactly. The answer, as our sources really illuminate, lies precisely in that vast and often deliberately ambiguous nature of what gets categorized under self-care or wellness. These differing figures aren't necessarily contradictory. Rather, they highlight that this enormous market covers everything from very specific workplace wellness programs like Kim mentioned, to this sweeping array of consumer goods, fitness services, travel experiences, digital health solutions, the whole shebang.
So the first key takeaway from our deep dive is really this. The sheer definitional elasticity of wellness isn't a bug. It's almost a feature.
A strategically deployed feature, perhaps. This flexibility lets the industry sprawl across nearly every aspect of our lives, creating a market so vast and, frankly, amorphous that it can credibly claim billions or even trillions just by stretching its definition to fit new products, services, and trends.
It's like a masterclass in market expansion through, conceptual shape-shifting, blurring the lines between genuine well-being and profitable consumption.
That's a great way to put it.
The commodification conundrum, when self-care becomes self-sabotage.
So with all that truly astonishing money swirling around, and this incredible definitional flexibility we just talked about, it's maybe no surprise that the core critique of modern self-care centers on how heavily and aggressively it's been commodified.
Turned into stuff to buy.
Exactly. One Reddit user captured the sentiment perfectly, voicing a frustration I think many of us feel, declaring, "I am fed up with the self-care trend. So much of what is billed as self-care is just marketing."
Straight to the point.
Right. And they even share this strikingly illustrative anecdote. Their 15-year-old daughter's friend defended her $50 manicure is self-care.
Wow. Okay.
That story really hits home, doesn't it? It perfectly illustrates just how effective this marketing strategy is, convincing even young people that spending, a decent chunk of money on a luxury service is somehow equivalent to genuine needs-based self-care. It's almost a complete reframing.
That's precisely it. And what's particularly insidious here is how this commercialized version of self-care is so often perceived, even by those doing it, as empty, temporary, and unfulfilling.
Right, like a sugar rush.
Exactly. A stark and almost cruel contrast to the more impactful, less consumer-driven self-care practices we'll discuss later. Another Reddit user put it brilliantly, writing, "The self-care industry is literally, are you stressed, depressed, or generally burnt out due to the hellscape that is late-stage capitalism? Try more capitalism."
Oof, that's biting.
It is, but it frames commercial self-care not as a solution, but as the superficial Band-Aid, right? A quick fix that only serves to perpetuate the very systemic issues like burnout from overwork or economic insecurity that are causing the stress in the first place. It doesn't offer true relief or address the root problems.
It highlights a deep cynicism, maybe even a painful truth, but the intentions behind some of these wellness products.
Definitely.
And it's not just big corporations with massive ad budgets pushing this narrative. Cultural phenomena have played a significant, maybe even unintentional role, too.
Like what?
Well, think about the phrase, treat yourself, from that popular TV show, Parks and Rec.
Yeah. Tom and Donna.
Exactly. While it started as this humorous, almost absurdly indulgent catchphrase, it has, over time, kind of inadvertently contributed to this pervasive idea that endless consumption, especially of luxury goods or services, is somehow a positive and even necessary act for our well-being.
Huh. I never thought of it that way, but yeah.
How many times have we maybe even guiltily used that phrase ourselves to justify something totally unnecessary? It's almost as if we're culturally conditioned to believe that buying something new is the quickest path to feeling better, even if that feeling is super fleeting.
This is precisely where the line between marketing and, well, let's call it subtle persuasion or even manipulation, really blurs. As one Reddit comment bluntly puts it, marketing is just another word for propaganda.
Strong words.
They are. But this perspective argues that corporate propagandists have sold self-care as spending money on good services in the name of feeling better. The insidious part, as our sources suggest, is that it ultimately defines self-worth by possessions.
Right. Your value is what you own.
Exactly. It encourages us to find our value not in who we are or what we do or how we genuinely feel, but rather in what we can acquire. And that inevitably leads to a shallow, unfulfilling, and ultimately unsustainable pursuit of well-being through constant spending. It shifts the focus from internal peace to external acquisition.
Okay, this leads us right into a particularly alarming concept, which Isra Nasir, an expert in mindful productivity, calls the dark side of the self-care boom.
Okay.
She states unequivocally that consumerism-based wellness is fostering a harmful misunderstanding that makes self-care more akin to self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage, wow.
It's a powerful and frankly disturbing idea that the very things we're told are good for us, the things we invest our money and time into, could actually be undermining our genuine efforts to feel better. Like running on a treadmill, thinking you're going somewhere, but you're really just exhausting yourself in place.
Yes, and this is exactly where the toxic productivity mindset takes root within the wellness sphere. In this insidious paradigm, self-care isn't seen as an end in itself, a moment of rest, rejuvenation, simple pleasure, but instead it becomes a means to an end.
Right, just another task to optimize.
Precisely. Nasir provides this poignant example with her client, Maya. Maya was justifiably seeking fulfillment and stress relief outside of her demanding job, which was clearly leading to burnout. But because toxic productivity was so deeply embedded in her mindset, her attempts at self-care started to mimic her overworking habits.
Oh no.
Yeah, she would meticulously fill her Sundays with rituals and activities culled from articles and social media videos that were more aspirational than inspirational.
So more performing wellness than feeling it.
Exactly. When Asir suggested something as simple as sleeping in, Maya immediately responded with this fear-driven declaration: "I would feel like I wasted my Sunday morning." Her internal compass was rigidly set against the perceived sin of being lazy.
Wow. Even rest becomes work.
It perfectly illustrates how self-care can transform from a source of solace into just another box to check on a never-ending to-do list, losing its original purpose entirely and actually compounding the very stress it's meant to alleviate. It becomes another performance to be perfected.
And the emotional outcomes of that approach are profoundly negative, creating this vicious cycle. Our sources indicate it leads to pervasive shame and guilt if you don't do it, and disappointment and criticism if you don't do it well enough. So instead of feeling rejuvenated and nourished by your self-care practices, you're left feeling like a failure, even in your own well-being. It's constant pressure to perform relaxation perfectly, which just adds more stress. It's totally self-defeating.
This raises a truly important question for all of us then. How do we break free from this insidious cycle of toxic productivity dressed up as self-care?
Yeah, what's the antidote?
Well, Nasir suggests a crucial first step is to become deeply attuned to your emotional needs and to relentlessly question the should behind each self-care activity you engage in.
Question this should. I like that.
Are these activities genuinely enjoyable for you? Do they leave you feeling truly relaxed, recharged, connected to your inner self? Or are they, paradoxically, just adding to the exhaustion and overwhelm you're desperately trying to escape? The ultimate goal, as she emphasizes, is to truly nourish your authentic connection to yourself, not just to achieve some idealized, Instagram-perfect, unattainable version of who you think you should be. It's about honesty and self-compassion, really.
Okay, let's look at the fitness industry. As highlighted in our sources, it offers a particularly stark and compelling microcosm of this entire problem. It's a $30 billion business operating within a commercialized market that prioritizes profit motives over health promotion.
Right. That prioritizing profit part is key.
It is. This isn't just about encouraging people to exercise. It's fundamentally about making money. And that relentless pursuit of profit can often, and tragically, overshadow the genuine promotion of public health and individual well-being.
And what's particularly insightful here is how deeply pervasive this commodification is within the fitness realm. It manifests in everything from the rise of high-priced boutique fitness studios offering exclusivity and luxury at a premium.
Yeah, those $40 classes.
Exactly. To the rather cynical practice of capitalizing on over-exercising in order to accrue more revenue from fitness recovery businesses. It's like they create the problem and then sell you the cure.
A meticulously designed system to keep you on a perpetual spending treadmill.
Precisely. And another incredibly significant concern within this space is the widespread prevalence of dietary supplements. Now, this is a critical point. These products do not require FDA approval and lack conclusive research to back up most of their audacious claims.
That's huge. No FDA approval needed.
Largely no. Yet they are incredibly profitable due to sophisticated marketing that doesn't just sell a product, but sells a powerful, often unattainable vision.
The vision of the perfect body, effortless energy.
Exactly. And this can be profoundly dangerous because it might give consumers an illusionary sense of invulnerability, leading them to make genuinely poorer health choices, maybe exercising less, neglecting balanced nutrition, dismissing actual medical advice, all because they believe a pill or powder will magically compensate.
Right. It undermines real health efforts.
And it underscores a crucial point we need to keep coming back to. Health and wellness does not need to be expensive in order to be effective.
It's particularly frustrating, isn't it, when you look at the often misleading and frankly disheartening portrayal of fitness on social media. Fitfluencers frequently flaunt these perfectly sculpted bodies and matching workout sets, meticulously curating an aesthetic that looks effortless, glamorous, and totally achievable if you just buy their stuff.
Right. It's all very curated.
But what's almost universally neglected, what's edited out, is the incredibly imperfect and challenging journey that true sustainable fitness actually involves. As Renee Engel, the psychology professor, astutely puts it, much of this content is really just thinspiration in disguise, subtly pushing an unrealistic body ideal. And this can be incredibly disheartening, even damaging, leaving average people feeling defeated and inadequate when they inevitably can't replicate these unrealistic, often digitally enhanced images. It sets people up for failure and shame.
And this leads directly to a critical concern our sources illuminate: the rampant spread of misinformation in this space. A sobering study found that a staggering 2/3 of the leading Fitspiration accounts audited lacked credibility or contained potentially harmful or unhealthy content.
2/3. That's shocking.
It is. And the core of the problem, you see, is a profound lack of universal standards or required certifications for self-proclaimed fitness professionals. While legitimate credentialing programs exist, they are absolutely not mandatory for someone to call themselves a fitfluencer or a coach.
So anyone can just claim expertise.
Pretty much. Meaning that less than 20% of the fitness-related influencers sampled reported having any credentials. This creates this Wild West landscape where inaccurate, misguided, sometimes outright dangerous health information can spread like wildfire, driven by the pursuit of social media clout, engagement, and product sales, rather than genuine expertise or public health.
And the real-world consequences of this unregulated, profit-driven environment can be quite dangerous, even life-threatening. Take the dry scooping TikTok trend, for example.
Oh, I heard about that. Terrible.
Right. This bizarre and risky practice, promoted online, promised fast-acting workout benefits by just ingesting dry pre-workout powder. But it could, and did, lead to severe respiratory and cardiovascular distress. It's a stark, undeniable illustration of how the industry, in its current form, is failing Americans. Especially when you consider that disheartening statistic. Less than a quarter of U.S. adults meet the recommended guidelines for physical activity. The focus on quick profits and unrealistic ideals seems to be creating more barriers than pathways to actual sustainable health.
It really does seem that way.
Reclaiming authentic self-care and wellness.
Okay. Given everything we've just discussed, the commodification, the toxic productivity, the misleading images, it's abundantly clear we need to reclaim what true, authentic self-care actually looks like.
Yes, move beyond the marketing.
Exactly. And thankfully, a great deal of practical wisdom on this topic is shared in our sources, especially from that really insightful Reddit discussion we mentioned. Many users emphasize, with refreshing clarity, that the best self-care practices are almost universally either free or cheap.
That's a key point, free or cheap.
It's about a fundamental shift in our mindset, isn't it? Missing self-care from something we buy to something we do, or maybe even more profoundly, something we are.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, these genuinely impactful practices often involve this powerful element of proactive planning and responsible management of our daily lives, essentially doing thoughtful things to benefit your future self.
Benefit your future self. I like that framing.
Think about vivid, relatable examples like making sure you have your meals prepared so you're not scrambling for unhealthy options after a long day, or getting your chores done through the week so you can truly relax on the weekend rather than dedicating it to nagging tasks.
Oh, that's a big one for me. Weekend chores are the worst.
Right. It could be as deceptively simple as going to bed an hour earlier because you know your body needs the rest, or even doing the dishes at night so I don't leave it to morning me, starting the next day, without that immediate burden.
Little acts of kindness to future you.
Exactly. At its core, it's fundamentally about implementing boundaries and removing unnecessary burdens from your life, creating space and reducing friction. These are consistently described as truly impactful self-care that critically doesn't cost a dime.
That resonates so powerfully with the idea that self-care is an attitude, not even an action as such, much less a physical object to have.
Yes.
It's a way of being.
It's not a checklist. It's about consistently choosing to be kind to myself and not forcing myself to do things that drain my energy, that don't align with my true needs, or that just feel like another chore. It's a profound shift from external performance to internal compassion and authentic self-awareness.
And what's truly poignant is how these principles apply even more profoundly to those genuinely struggling with significant mental health challenges like depression. Our sources highlight that for someone in that situation, seemingly small, almost invisible actions can be incredibly impactful. Simple acts like taking a shower, getting a haircut, putting on a nice shirt, or even painting nails or doing makeup.
Things that might seem trivial to others.
Yeah.
Exactly. But they can be huge helps to boost confidence and serve as a good first step towards healing. These aren't about luxury or consumerism. They're about demonstrating basic, fundamental care for oneself when just existing feels incredibly difficult. They are like acts of defiance against the inertia of despair.
That's beautifully put. It really boils down to asking yourself these crucial introspective questions. What are you truly trying to care for right now? What are the practical, sustainable ways to genuinely address that need or soothe yourself?
Getting specific.
Yeah. This shifts the focus entirely from what you can buy or what you should be doing according to Instagram to what your genuine internal needs are and how you can meet them intentionally, mindfully, rather than just reacting to clever marketing. It's about reclaiming agency.
Absolutely.
Now, this brings us to a common and often tricky question. How do we distinguish genuine self-care from mere indulgence? It's a line that can feel quite blurry for many of us.
Yeah, where is that line?
One Reddit user shared their therapist's incredibly insightful approach to this dilemma. Instead of a rigid rule, the therapist would approach it with a gentle inquiry, asking things like, is indulgence bad? Or, where do you generally draw the line? Is that working well for you?
Putting it back on the individual's experience?
Exactly. It frames it as a nuanced personal conversation, not a simple yes-no answer dictated from outside.
And what's particularly insightful here is the consensus that seems to emerge from these candid discussions. Indulgence is bad if it is wasteful or makes problems in other areas of your life.
Okay, that makes sense.
The example provided is incredibly clear and practical.
Mhm.
If you are doing self-care activities and then you worry about money all the time because you are overspending, then you are negating the self-care.
Right. If your self-care shopping spree leads to financial anxiety, it's not really care, is it?
Precisely. This perspective suggests genuine self-care should never create additional stress, hardship, or anxiety in another area of your life. It shouldn't be about robbing Peter to pay Paul or creating a new problem while trying to solve another. True self-care should be additive, not just a shift of burdens.
That's a powerful point. It flips the script. It's not just about the act itself, but about its holistic impact, including your financial peace of mind. But then there's an important counterpoint our sources also highlight.
Okay.
Some argue quite passionately that indulging yourself doesn't have to be a bad thing, though. As long as you can and you're not buying excessive, wasteful things for self-care, it's not a problem.
Right. Moderate indulgence can be fine.
Yeah. There's a strong argument that capitalism teaches us that laziness and time off should be punished, that rest is unproductive, and that maybe we should actively move away from this thinking and embrace indulging yourself in a way that does not harm others or the planet.
Challenging that ingrained guilt around rest or pleasure.
Exactly. It's about balance, mindful choice, and challenging societal programming, not rigid denial.
So this raises the really important question.
Mm-hmm.
How do we apply these principles in our own lives? How do we make mindful, discerning decisions about when and how to indulge?
Right. How do you navigate that personally?
The wisdom shared suggests that a healthy, content, or secure person can decide themselves by asking a series of crucial self-interrogating questions before indulging.
Like what?
Questions like, is this truly an investment in me? Am I doing it for me, for my genuine well-being? Or is it maybe to impress a community, fit an image, fulfill an external expectation? Is this genuinely outside of my budget? Is it going to create stress down the line? Is this a necessity or just a fleeting want?
Getting really honest with yourself about the motivation.
Exactly. It encourages this deeply personal, financially responsible, and mindfully intentional approach to spending, prioritizing true needs and genuine satisfaction over externally imposed desires or cleverly marketed wants. It's about integrity in your choices.
The hospitality industry's embrace of wellness, opportunities, and ethical shadows.
Okay, so we've explored how we can reclaim authentic self-care in our personal lives, focusing on free and mindful choices. But this huge wellness industry we talked about earlier isn't exactly slowing down. In fact, it's aggressively expanding.
Oh, for sure, especially in certain sectors.
Right. So how does this tension between authentic personal wellness and massive commercialization play out in a sector like hospitality, where the profit motive is, let's be honest, undeniable?
That's a great question.
Our sources highlight that wellness is currently seen as one of the important drivers of growth within the hospitality and tourism industry, and some even hail it as the fastest growing sector of the wellness industry. It's clearly a colossal economic force that hotels and resorts are eager to capture.
Absolutely. So to understand this better, we probably first need to define what wellness tourism actually entails. Broadly, it's described as travel that allows a person to maintain or enhance their personal well-being.
Maintain or enhance.
Okay. Our sources break down two main types of wellness travelers. First, those whose sole aim for traveling is wellness. They choose destinations specifically for immersive retreats or health programs.
Okay, the dedicated wellness trip.
Exactly. And secondly, those who simply look to maintain their wellness during general travel, maybe by using hotel gyms, seeking out healthy food options, using in-room meditation guides, that sort of thing.
Right, incorporating wellness into a regular trip.
Precisely. The concept itself is pretty well defined as a state of health featuring the harmony of body, mind, and spirit with self-responsibility, physical fitness or beauty care, healthy nutrition or diet, relaxation or meditation, mental activity, and environmental sensitivity.
Wow, that's a comprehensive definition. It covers a lot.
It really does, and this incredibly holistic definition really underpins the diverse and often quite elaborate offerings we see emerging in this sector. It's a powerful promise they're selling.
And the research identifies some truly concrete examples of these increasingly sophisticated wellness tourism experiences, going way beyond just a basic hotel spa.
Right. What kind of things?
We were talking about the profound importance of restorative environments,
Yeah.
for instance, like natural landscapes that intrinsically calm the nervous system. There are also culturally integrated culinary experiences that connect you deeply to local traditions and sustainable food practices, making dining itself an act of wellness.
Interesting. Food as wellness.
And then we have specific, often trending activities like forest bathing, Shinrin-yoku in Japan. This practice offers mindful immersion in slowness, stillness, and silence. And it's explicitly positioned as a crucial antidote for the overwhelming pace of our industrialized and digitalized world.
Ah, the digital detox aspect.
Exactly. It's about intentional disconnect to truly reconnect with nature and oneself.
It's also evident that wellness tourism is strategically catering to very specific demographics. They recognize that different age groups and lifestyles have distinct wellness needs and desires.
Targeting specific markets.
Definitely. For example, baby boomers are a huge market segment, often seeking offerings that provide medical, wellness, and social benefits. They're frequently motivated by a desire for youthfulness and a quest for physical and spiritual balance.
Yeah, okay.
Our sources also note that elderly visitors to hot spring areas particularly enjoy vacations with peers, finding not just physical relief, but also significant social and emotional benefits that emphasize dignity and quality of life. So the industry meticulously adapts its offerings to target these specific needs, showing a deep understanding of varied consumer motivations.
It's fascinating to see how major global hotel companies are trying to weave wellness into the very fabric of their core offerings. What's maybe surprising, though, is a finding from a study that specifically analyzed the top global hotel companies. It revealed that only one, Hyatt Hotels Corporation, featured wellness explicitly and prominently on its main corporate website.
Oh, just one. That is surprising.
Yeah, it actually challenges that assertion by some industry consultants that wellness has taken center stage across all major players. It suggests that while the trend is undeniable and growing, maybe not every major hotel group is putting it front and center in their top-level branding just yet.
Interesting nuance. Despite that specific finding about the corporate websites, though, the research clearly shows that many of these companies have looked to embrace wellness in their offers in a variety of ways, even if it's not always shouted from the digital rooftops.
Okay, so how are they doing it?
Well, 4 key themes seem to emerge. Firstly, there's a significant corporate commitment to wellness. We see examples like Hilton's Vice President of Wellness, Amanda Al-Masri, explicitly emphasizing a clear strategic commitment to bringing wellness to the heart of the stay experience.
Right, making it central.
And similarly, Wyndham Hotels and Resorts is unequivocally committed to the health and wellness of our guests and team members, recognizing it as fundamental. So this isn't just lip service, it seems to be a strategic pivot for many.
Yeah, commitment. What's next?
Secondly, and perhaps most visibly for us as travelers, we're seeing the widespread development of dedicated wellness facilities. IHG Hotels and Resorts, for instance, boast some of the most tranquil spas globally, designing these sanctuaries for deep relaxation. Think of their Kimpton Seafire Spa in the Cayman's Jacuzzi Hammam treatment rooms.
The whole spa experience.
Exactly. Or consider the Six Senses Spa Ibiza, with its cutting-edge longevity lounge, anti-aging programs, even an organic garden where ingredients for spa treatments are homegrown.
Farm to spa treatment.
Kind of, yeah. BWH Hotel Group highlights extensive wellness centers, like one in Germany using Bavaria's warmest and strongest thermal brine salt. Hyatt's Miraval brand explicitly offers a complete wellness experience with these immersive journeys with intention, including really unique treatments like Aqua Zen floating in warm water supported by therapists or Naga massage using hanging silks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Getting quite specialized.
Very. Marriott International also broadly promotes its network of spas and wellness spots, and the Hilton London Croydon offers 90 minutes of exclusive access to the Hilton private wellness area with personalized mind and body rituals. It's a rich, ever-expanding array of bespoke offerings.
Okay, so commitment, facilities. What else?
Thirdly, beyond the guest experience, there's a growing recognition of the importance of employee wellness programs within these hospitality companies.
Focusing inward too.
Right. For example, G6 Hospitality explicitly supports team members' health and wellness with comprehensive medical, dental, and assistance programs. Wyndham offers a robust Be Well program that includes free clinic services, an on-site fitness facility, and a Wyndham Relief Fund for employees facing hardship.
That sounds pretty good.
It does. Now, if we connect this to the bigger picture, there are certainly contrasting academic views on the ultimate effectiveness and ethics of these corporate employee wellness programs. Some research, like Hull and Pasquale back in 2017, suggests these programs can sometimes fail to deliver a positive ROI for the company and might even increase employer control over employees' personal lives, kind of blurring those work-life boundaries.
Right, potential downsides.
But conversely, other studies, like one by Marga et al. In 2021, suggest they can lead to tangible benefits like lower employee turnover and genuinely help employees deal with stress, especially in the high-pressure hospitality industry. So it's a complex ethical tightrope they're walking.
Okay, and the fourth theme.
The fourth theme signals a really complete integration and increasing focus on wellness in guest rooms. Hotels are going far beyond just a comfy bed now. They're transforming the room's environment. Wyndham, for example, offers wellness rooms that use scientific research along with engineering and technological advancements for a healthier guest room experience. These might feature advanced air purification systems, dawn simulation, alarm clocks mimicking natural light, signature memory foam mattresses.
So optimizing the sleep environment.
Exactly. Marriott is also implementing wellness hotel rooms with medical-grade in-room filtration systems and specially treated surfaces to minimize bacteria and allergens. It's a holistic attempt to create a complete wellness environment, even within your personal hotel room, making health a seamless part of the travel experience.
Okay, that all sounds quite positive, quite innovative. But surely there are ethical considerations here too.
Absolutely. While these integrations might seem unequivocally beneficial, our sources consistently highlight these wider issues that significantly challenge the purely positive perception of wellness in tourism. What's truly fascinating and maybe concerning is the fundamental commodification of the concept of wellness itself.
Right, turning it into just another product.
Exactly. Under a capitalist framework, wellness, which originated as this deeply personal, holistic state of being, can easily become just another product to be sold and bought. And this commercialization risks it becoming detached from its original roots, its ethical, spiritual, preventative foundations.
And what are the consequences of that detachment?
Well, this commodification raises serious concerns about the potential for exploitation of local labor and of local cultures and environments. A clear example often cited is the booming yoga tourism industry. Some critics argue it has become far removed from ideals of practice centered on spirituality, compassion, and peace, effectively transforming a sacred ancient discipline into a largely commercial venture focused more on Instagrammable poses than inner work.
Turning tradition into a commodity.
Precisely. And this also brings up an incredibly important tension, especially as global awareness grows. The inherent conflict between the rapid growth of wellness activities and the vital concept of sustainable development.
How do those come?
Well, our sources point out that both concepts are, at their philosophical core, rooted in a holistic view. Wellness balances physical, mental, emotional, social, spiritual health. Sustainable development balances environmental, social, economic components for long-term well-being. So they share that holistic foundation.
Okay.
However, despite the shared foundation, wellness tourism venues, in their very growth and operation, can paradoxically generate unsustainable pressures on the very natural environments and local communities they often promote as part of the wellness experience.
The paradox of promoting nature while potentially harming it.
Exactly. Elaborating on these pressures, we see tangible concerns like the significant aircraft and motor vehicle emissions generated by guests' travel to these venues, contributing to climate change. There's also the very real potential for damage the development of new wellness venues may cause to natural environments through construction, resource consumption, waste generation.
The footprinted development.
And perhaps most sensitively, there's the impact on indigenous cultures and peoples, where local traditions, sacred sites, or cultural practices might be appropriated or commodified for tourist consumption without genuine respect or equitable benefit flowing back to the community.
You're right. Cultural appropriation masked as wellness.
It reveals this complex, multi-layered ethical landscape where the pursuit of individual well-being through tourism must be very carefully balanced against broader ecological, social, and cultural responsibilities. It's far from as simple and idyllic as it often appears in the marketing brochures.
Definitely a lot more complex underneath the surface. Outro. And there we have it. A comprehensive and, we hope, truly insightful journey through our deep dive into the world of self-care and wellness.
It's been quite the exploration.
It has. We've navigated its ancient holistic roots, traced its gradual evolution, and explored its astonishing explosion into this multi-trillion-dollar global industry. We've dissected how the very essence of self-care has been skillfully, almost imperceptibly, co-opted by marketing, often leading us down a path of toxic productivity and superficial consumption rather than genuine rejuvenation.
And this deep dive truly raises an important question for you, the listener, to carry forward. How do you critically assess what is truly beneficial for your well-being? What genuinely nourishes your spirit and body versus what is simply a product being sold, a fleeting trend, or a cleverly packaged expectation?
Yeah, how do you tell the difference in your own life?
Remember that crucial insight we've uncovered, a powerful truth that often gets lost in the noise. Health and wellness does not need to be expensive in order to be effective. In fact, many of the most impactful, transformative practices are often free or low cost, deeply rooted in proactive choices, thoughtful planning, and profound self-awareness, not in your credit card balance.
So as you move through your day, maybe today or this week, perhaps pause and consider what self-care truly looks like for you when it's stripped bare of all external marketing messages, all societal expectations, all the shoulds that weigh us down.
What's left when you remove the noise?
What does it mean in its purest form to truly nourish your connection to yourself and respond to your deepest, most authentic needs with the kind of unconditional care you'd crave from, say, a loving parent or an attentive partner?
That's a powerful image.
And how might embracing this more authentic, less commercialized approach free up your invaluable time, energy, and financial resources for what really, truly nourishes you? How might it help you to finally reclaim your mindset in all areas of your life?
Food for thought, definitely.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.